Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. To be honest, it's been quite a stressful day today. As often I had writer's block and stuff like that, so also I woke up quite late and I sleep too much and all that. So it's not really been the march I was hoping, because of my a little sort of saying I have, if you like march to the very victory, or march victory, or whatever. So anyway, yeah, because I'm really disappointed and gutted because Italy is out of the World Cup, so I was quite distraught about that. It's ruined my evening or night or whatever you want to call it. So I'm gutted about that a little bit, but I thought, as I had planned to make this video for a while, I thought I'd stick to, I'm very disappointed and upset, and probably a bit spoiled, I know, because excuse me, you might say it's only football and you shouldn't be too disappointed about football, considering things like wars or people who lack food, electricity and stuff like that. But perhaps being a bit spoiled, but I was hoping Italy could somehow qualify for the World Cup and maybe even go all the way. So I'm gutted about that. I even had this mad dream about Italy winning 3 World Cups in a row and all that. Now that's gone out the window, and I thought it'd be a really cool thing to happen. Obviously, a great story and stuff like that. And but anyway, it is what it is. And this video is more about politics, but I thought I'd just cover that in the intro. So I hope you forgive me for that one, and for being a bit of a spoiled kid, perhaps. But especially as this year it's like my 40th year, and they say life begins at 40. So I was hoping some good stuff to happen, but it hasn't quite worked, and hopefully things will get better for the month. But anyway, I've just got to try and plan and do the best I can. Obviously, I'm trying to deal with something that I can't really, unless you're superstitious, I can't really do much to change the score, I suppose. But I would love to go to Italy and like discuss. And as I was saying, unless you believe in superstition, you can't really change how the players are going to perform and all that, and make them perform any better or anything like that, or whatever. But it is what it is anyway. And as I say, I'd love to go to Italy and like share my ideas about football, and hopefully April will be better. But I said that about March. So anyway, sorry if I'm waffling. Here goes. So here are a list of my political aspirations, which I discussed a little bit a couple of weeks ago, and I did say I'd try and get to them every Thursday, but because last Thursday was Italy's unification day and St. Patrick's Day, I decided to do something a bit different. But yeah, I suppose everything's sort of connected to politics. Anyway, here goes. So number one, I would love to promote Pan-Africanism and encourage African countries to come together. So I'm a Pan-Africanist. I would, as I say, I'd love for as many people from across Africa as possible to work together, especially in technology, but also just to support each other politically and in business, as well as tech and other areas, like giving people, maybe the politicians and councillors and political leaders and even businesses, charities and NGOs and people, and they could, and whatever other organisation could invest in young Africans having access to technology, as well as Indigenous Australasians, and also people who invest in Africa. As I've talked about this idea before, but I'd love for people who invest in Africa, like companies or countries that go to invest in Africa, to be encouraged to, or maybe even coerced, if you like, into supporting, or in terms of access to Africa's resources. Maybe African countries could say, if you want access to our resources, you've got to give us tech training for younger people, especially, or people of all ages, but especially younger people, and older and younger people can work together and teach each other and things like that. Another thing I hope to promote is Pan-Asianism. So I'm a Pan-Africanist and a Pan-Asianist, and in fact, what I call the Six, I would love to work together, to network together. I often talk about, excuse me, the Six. So please check out my other videos where I mentioned those. But yeah, so I'd love for them to work together generally. I hope I've not jinxed it by calling it, by it being in the third in the list. But anyway, because I mentioned Pan-Africanism and Pan-Asianism, but yeah, I'd love for also Latin America and the Americas generally also to work together. Anyway, moving on. Number two. On that note, there are some countries which I would specifically, in the future, I would love, for instance, to go to Turkey or other Eurasian nations or transcontinental countries generally, especially Eurasian nations in particular, such as Turkey, to discuss my political aspirations. And I would, if I could, I'd love to create my own sort of manifesto in countries like Turkey if I could travel. Again, that would be another thing on my bucket list, which I haven't talked about as part of my goals. But yeah, Turkey would be a country which I'd love to talk about my political ideas and like how Turkey could work towards humanitarianism, and Eurasian, transcontinental, Mid-Eastern and Mediterranean nations generally could work on human rights, and symbolically to say that there are more important things than money. Though I'd love to support those other countries and parts of the world like Africa and Asia and places like that, what I call the six generally, and that sort of thing. I know I've included a third in my list again, unfortunately by mistake. But anyway, I'm not doing very well, I know. But sorry. But yeah. So though I would love for those countries to network together. I would love to support those countries financially, economically, or whatever you call it. I would love to support Eurasian and transcontinental, Mid-Eastern and Mediterranean nations in terms of like human rights, animal rights, and how they could support those developing countries by helping others, they feel better as well. Thirdly, as I say, I would love to support human rights, animal libertarianism, and all sorts of things like that generally. And again, I'd love to promote my political ideals in Turkey, especially. Number 4, I would love to promote I would love to promote pacifism and conscientious objection. If I had my way, like people who have things in common with me, like olive skin, mixed race, and stroke or learning disabled people with dyslexia or ADHD or autism or other conditions like that, I would love for us to not join any militaries, gangs, or terrorism, or anything like that, and to promote peace and, like I say, to work against wars. And again, like I think I've forgot to mention my point about like certain countries which would be significant, or that I would love to work with, like Eurasian, transcontinental, Mid-Eastern and Mediterranean nations. I would love for them to work towards peace and diplomacy and discouraging any wars that go on. Unfortunately, quite a lot of wars are going on at the moment, so I'd love for them to work towards peace and prosperity and making the world a better place through that sort of way. So maybe, like for instance, Turkey and countries like that, and other Eurasian, transcontinental, Mid-Eastern and Mediterranean nations could facilitate like diplomacy, as I say, between countries like Russia and the Ukraine and places like that, to prevent all these wars as much as possible. I may dream, but yeah. So I'd love for them to work on those sorts of things. Number 5, I'd love for Central Africa to be a portal for all of Africa to unite together and promote Pan-Africanism and peace and love and things like that. And also Central Asia to sort of bring Asian nations together so that they won't fight each other. And I hope for people across places like Japan, Korea, both South and North Korea somehow, and Taiwan to work together to prevent wars and like to put pressure on their governments to make sure they don't go to war and things like that, including people in China and all across Asia as well, to discourage their countries from going to war. I know in some countries like North Korea, it would be hard to see them do that because of like the human rights situation. But it'd be great if politicians in those countries could also like come together and talk about how they can make peace. And I would love for there to be like an Asian Union, Asian Alliance, or whatever you want to call it, a cooperative or whatever. It could be called the AA, Asian Alliance, which would be in Central Asia and mostly have its buildings and its meetups and meetings and things like that in Central Asia, where they would talk about peace across Asia, right? Peace and tourism and prosperity and things like that as much as possible. So I hope that word gets spread out, and then people will support that sort of thing. And I'd love for Egypt, which is apparently in part in Asia and part in Africa, as a transcontinental country, to be a bridge between Africa and Asia, so improving African to Asian relationships between African and Asian nations, so they can learn about each other, learn about each other's politics and businesses and culture, and support like film industries, Asian and African film industries, and what they can learn from each other, and music and all sorts of events, to bring Africa and Asia together as well, not just between each other, but not between just African countries to other African countries or Asian nations to other Asian nations, but also between each other as well. And as I say, Egypt would be symbolically like a place that could host those. So Central Asia to unite together Asia and promote Pan-Asianism, Central Africa to promote Pan-Africanism and to unite African countries, and Egypt to unite both African and Asian nations together. Again, learning about each other's cultures and supporting each other's industries and things like that, including film and music industries and things like that. Again, promoting each other's businesses and cuisine, and discussing politics and how to make peace, encouraging tourism, and that would hopefully lead to prosperity and human rights, also animal rights and children's rights and things like that. Number 6, again, talking about Italy, and I think a lot of things are connected to politics. So I think I think it'd be great if Italy's politicians and councillors invested in like football academies and developing football in Italy, both at club team and national level, and improving it, because hopefully this will be a wake-up call, not qualifying for the World Cup, as sad as it is and disappointing as it is for Italian fans like me. Hopefully it'll be a wake-up call to improve in the future and continue to improve, as I say, to have football academies, to encourage Italians to practice for at least an hour a day and things like that. Number 7, I hope for, on the subject of football, I would love for Celtic to network with the S.N.P., Scottish National Party, Plaid, Cymru, how I pronounce them, Sinn Fain, and all the other Celtic political parties, as well as businesses and investors and things like that. So hopefully that will improve Celtic benefit, and hopefully Celts, people from the Celtic countries, as I call them, will come together and support Celtic, and that will help the club financially, which will hopefully bring as much success as possible in the future. Number 8, I hope to connect together Italian football and Celtic. I think that is, I know that I'm talking about politics, but I think football and sport generally is quite political. As I say, pretty much everything I think is connected to politics in some way. Number 9, I hope to prioritize some of my political ideas, such as libertarianism, open markets, capitalism, and lower taxes and deregulation and things like that. I know they're quite controversial ideas, but I hope to talk about my ideas generally as I said before, like each Thursday or as often as possible. And number 10, I dream to support, I think I forgot to say this in my last video, but I dream to support the 10% poorest people in all possible, the 10% poorest people and sugar families in all possible countries, and also, as I say, human rights, animal rights, and protection of the vulnerable, disabled people, and disadvantaged people generally. And I dream, as I say, to fundraise to support the 10% poorest people and sugar families in all possible countries, as I say, but without raising taxes or regulation or making more rules and strict laws. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry if I waffled, and I am out. Peace and love.